We all have goals, right? You probably have a list somewhere, maybe it's in your head, or maybe you've written it down, hoping to manifest it into reality. But here's the thing, goals alone aren't enough. Desire alone is not enough. You can want something badly, you can think about it constantly, but if your goals aren't prioritized, they're just dreams without a plan. And let me be real with you for a second, dreams without action, without clear priorities, don't go anywhere, they stay dreams. The problem most of us face isn't that we lack desire, it's that we don't treat our goals like a priority. We let life get in the way. We allow distractions, excuses, and urgent but not important tasks to consume our time, and then we wonder why we haven't made any progress. Achieving your goals is about focus, and focus comes from having clear priorities. So what does it mean to prioritize your goals? It means making your goals the center of your daily decisions. It's not about finding extra time, it's about being intentional with the time you have. Most of us already have full lives. We've got jobs, families, responsibilities. But the truth is, if something is important to you, you find a way to make time for it. When your goals are a priority, you carve out that time no matter what. Let's think about how we use our time every day. How often do you get to the end of a day and feel like you were busy but didn't accomplish anything meaningful? You were running from task to task, putting out fires, responding to emails, checking social media, and at the end of it, your goals are still untouched. That's because you weren't focused on your priorities. You were focused on whatever felt urgent in the moment, and your goals took a backseat. Here's the truth, what you focus on grows. If you're focusing all your time and energy on distractions, that's what will grow in your life. If you're focusing on everyone else's demands, that's where your time will go. But if you focus on your goals, if you treat them as non-negotiable, if you put them first, that's where your growth will come from. Prioritizing your goals means putting them at the top of your list, not at the bottom after everything else is done. Because here's a little secret everything else is never done. There will always be more emails, more chores, more meetings, more distractions. But you only have so much time and energy in a day, so you need to choose where that time goes. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I'm so busy, I don't have time for my goals. I hear this all the time. And my response is always the same: you're not too busy, you're just not prioritizing the right things. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. Look at the most successful people, they don't have more time than you. They just make their goals their top priority. Let me break it down for you. If your goal is to get in shape, you need to make time to work out, even if that means waking up an hour earlier. If your goal is to start a business, you need to carve out time every day to work on that business plan, even if that means cutting back on Netflix. If your goal is to write a book, you need to write every day, even if it's just for 20 minutes. Prioritizing your goals is about making tough choices. It's about saying no to things that don't move you closer to what you want, so you can say yes to the things that do. And let me tell you, saying no is hard. It's uncomfortable. We don't like to disappoint people or miss out on fun things, but you have to decide what matters more, pleasing everyone else or achieving your goals. When you start prioritizing your goals, you'll find that it's not about doing more, it's about doing less of the things that don't matter. It's about cutting out the distractions, the busy work, the things that make you feel productive but aren't actually moving you closer to your dreams. It's about getting clear on what really matters to you and making sure your actions reflect that. Here's a challenge for you. Take a look at how you spend your day. Write it down if you need to. Be honest with yourself about how much time you're spending on things that don't matter. How much time are you wasting on social media? How many hours are you losing to tasks that aren't aligned with your goals? And then ask yourself, how can you start using that time to prioritize your goals instead? You have the power to change your life, but it's not going to happen by accident. It's going to happen because you make the decision every single day to prioritize what matters. And it's not just about the big decisions, it's the small, daily choices that add up over time. It's choosing to wake up a little earlier, to work on your side hustle after your 9 to 5, to say no to distractions. That's how progress is made. Remember this, your goals don't need more wishing or more wanting. They need more action. They need to be at the top of your list, not just something you think about when everything else is done. And when you start treating your goals as a priority, you'll see results. You'll start moving forward. You'll start building momentum. But it all starts with one decision, deciding that your goals are worth more than your distractions. So ask yourself, are your goals really a priority, or are they just something you hope to get around to someday? Because someday isn't a day of the week. The time to focus on your goals is now. And the way to do it is by making them the most important thing in your life. When you do that, everything else will fall into place. We live in a world where distractions are constant. Notifications, emails, social media, conversations, it's endless. The human brain is hardwired to react to these stimuli. because it evolved to keep us safe, to alert us to potential dangers. But in modern life, this reactive mode keeps us from being truly focused and from taking intentional action toward our goals. And if you don't take control of your brain, it will keep reacting to everything that comes its way, pulling you further and further away from what really matters. Here's the deal: if you want to achieve your goals, you have to train your brain to stop reacting and start acting. Your brain is a powerful tool, but if left on autopilot, it will prioritize comfort, ease, and instant gratification over the tough, intentional work it takes to make real progress. That's why it's so important to interrupt your brain's reactive tendencies and shift into proactive, focused action. Most of us live in a constant state of reaction. We wake up and immediately check our phones, react to emails, jump into meetings, or scroll through social media. Before we know it, hours have passed and we haven't done a single thing that actually moves us closer to our goals. That's because our brains are conditioned to respond to external triggers instead of being directed by our internal priorities. So how do we fix this? It starts with awareness. You have to recognize when you're in reactive mode. Are you scrolling on your phone because it's a habit, or are you consciously choosing to spend time on social media? Are you answering that email immediately because it's urgent, or because it's just another distraction keeping you from what you really need to do? When you become aware of your reactive habits, you can begin to change them. The key is to create a gap between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting immediately to every stimulus that comes your way, take a moment to pause. This is where the power of choice comes in. You get to choose whether you're going to let that notification distract you or whether you're going to stay focused on what really matters. This isn't easy. Your brain will fight you on this because it's wired for instant gratification. But every time you pause and choose action over reaction, you're retraining your brain to focus on what's important. One tool that I swear by to break this reactive cycle is the 5-second rule. It's simple, but it's incredibly effective. Here's how it works when you feel yourself getting distracted or hesitating to take action. Count down from 5 minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move. The counting interrupts your brain's automatic reactive response and gives you a window to take control and make a deliberate choice. It sounds almost too simple, but this small pause can make a world of difference. Why does it work? Because when you're counting down, you're activating the part of your brain that's responsible for decision making. You're no longer letting your primitive brain, the part that craves comfort and safety, run the show. Instead, you're engaging your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's in charge of making conscious, intentional choices. By the time you hit 1, you've overridden your brain's default setting to stay comfortable, and you're ready to take action. This rule is particularly powerful when it comes to procrastination. Think about how often you put off things that are important, whether it's working on a project, going to the gym, or even having a difficult conversation. Your brain tells you, I don't feel like it, or I'll do it later, and you listen. But with the 5-second rule, you're breaking that cycle of hesitation. Instead of waiting to feel motivated, you're creating momentum through action. Motivation doesn't create action, action creates motivation. Now, let's talk about why your brain is so resistant to taking action in the first place. It's because your brain is designed to avoid discomfort. Anytime you face something that feels hard, uncertain, or outside your comfort zone, your brain tries to protect you by steering you away from it. This is a survival mechanism that worked great when we were facing physical dangers, but in today's world, it just keeps us stuck. The truth is, growth doesn't happen inside your comfort zone. Achieving your goals requires you to do things that are hard, uncomfortable, and sometimes even scary. Your brain doesn't want that. It wants to keep you safe and cozy. So you have to override that default setting by taking control. Every time you push past that initial resistance and take action, you're retraining your brain to embrace discomfort as a path to growth. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for the right moment to take action. They wait until they feel ready or until the conditions are perfect. But guess what? You're never going to feel fully ready. There's never going to be a perfect moment. If you're waiting for motivation to strike, you're going to be waiting a long time. The most successful people aren't the ones who wait for the right time. They're the ones who take action despite uncertainty, despite discomfort, and despite fear. When you train your brain to act rather than react, you're building resilience. You're teaching yourself that you don't have to be controlled by your emotions, distractions, or fear. You're in charge of your actions, and that's incredibly empowering. Over time, this practice of taking intentional action will become a habit. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more you push through that initial resistance, the more confidence you'll build in your ability to tackle challenges head on. But here's the kicker. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily practice. Every day, you're going to face distractions, and every day, your brain is going to want to take the easy route. You have to make the conscious decision over and over again to take control. It's not always going to be easy, but I promise you, it's worth it. The more you train your brain to act rather than react, the more progress you'll make toward your goals. You'll stop wasting time on things that don't matter, and you'll start focusing on what does. You'll build momentum, and with that momentum comes motivation. And before you know it, you'll be accomplishing things you once thought were impossible, not because you waited for the perfect moment, but because you took action every single day.